What is going on YouTube and what is going on Raider Nation? This is Wi-Fi Willie and
Audrey Stone
of the Raiders Rundown. We got a great show where we talk about Raiders news, latest things happening, and also give some opinions, give our talk, give our thoughts, get some hate mail, right? I love some hate mail. That's always good. Always brightens my morning. So keep it coming. But hey, this guy, unfortunately, it's coming to an end for Rod Marinelli. Honestly, like, just clap it up for Rod Marinelli, man. He's a great coach, arguably a Hall of Famer and a legend. We're going to ask your guys' thoughts about that in a second. We also have some member questions that we're going to get to in a little bit as well. But Rod Marinelli is set to retire, the Raiders defensive line coach last year. He got his start in 1996 with the Buccaneers in the NFL as a defensive line coach. Then 2002, when Gruden took over for the Bucs, became assistant head coach and a D-line coach. Then went off to the Lions in 2006 to 2008, was the Lions head coach. Then a Bears assistant head coach and D-line coach just for the 2009 season. Then 2010 to 2012, Bears assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, straight up defensive coordinator. But most of us know Rod Marinelli from his time with the Cowboys, 2013, D-line coach. Then 2014 to 2019 was the Cowboys defensive coordinator when Jason Garrett was there as the head coach. And then 2020 Raiders interim DC, in 2020 to now Raiders D-line coach. So great guy, great resume, friend of Gruden, friend to a lot of people in the NFL as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We really are losing a legend with this retirement. When Paul Guenther was let go, obviously Gruden had Marinelli come in and help out. And even though Gus Bradley brought in his own staff, he retained Marinelli the following year. So that just shows how talented he was, how talented he is, and what an asset he was to the team, to the defensive line. So yeah, it's a real loss.
It was interesting because 2019 we had DeForest Buckner as the D-line coach. Paulie G is still the defensive coordinator. Chris Christie, by the way, right? You always say he looks like Chris Christie, right? So he's the D coordinator. Marinelli comes in. And when Marinelli came in as D-line coach, it was kind of like, the whole time I was like, we're going to fire Paulie G, and Marinelli's going to take over at some point.
The GOAT.
And it looks like it took a little too long for that to happen. Who knows? Like, 2020, think about it. We went 1-1 against the Chiefs, and I think we had a good squad. We had Ruggs, we had Gruden. And maybe in 2020 pandemic year, we would have done better if Marinelli was the interim D coordinator a little bit quicker. But let us know in the comments. We want to know your guys' thoughts. Rod Marinelli. Should Marinelli be in the Hall of Fame? We need more people. We need more former Raiders in the Hall of Fame. Cliff Branch is trying to get there as well. And, typically the NFL just takes a long time to put Raiders into the Hall of Fame. Even Al Davis, I felt like he was put into the Hall of Fame a little too late for me. I think he should have been put in a lot sooner. Tom Flores as well.
I think we know why they delayed.
It's all because they right. Let's I don't want to get canceled, but by Goodell, I don't want to get on Goodell's hit list. But
it goes back to Pete Rozelle,
right?
But yes, Goodell inherited that.
Never trust a commissioner where their name ends with L. Rozelle, Goodell.
Well, actually, Rozelle. Anyway, go on.
You know what I'm saying. So let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments, yes or no. Should Marinelli be in the Hall of Fame? I would comment yes, but I want to see what you guys think.
Yeah, definitely.
Member questions. Here's the thing. Consider being a member to support the show. Obviously, subscribe to this channel and like this video. That crap helps us all the time. But members, I do take questions from the members. I post privately amongst those. So click that link in the description if you want to be a member. And here's what they said. Do you think Hue Jackson, former Raiders head coach, former Browns head coach, tanked on purpose when he was coaching the Raiders? This is from Raw Eggs of Thunder. Wow. That's some heat. So this is with the Brian Flores thing, right? He says there's tanking involved, and then Hue Jackson.
He said Stephen Ross offered him $100,000 payout. For those who don't know, it's in the lawsuit. Offered Brian Flores $100,000 payout per game that he tanked in the 2019 season as head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Right, and then it's also
so now a lot of people are wondering how prevalent was this? How many people deserve their bets back from money line bets in all these different games and seasons?
Yeah, I bet money line on the Dolphins before. No.
I mean, if I was one of those people who lost a lot of money on one of those bets, I would be fuming right now. So
but here's the thing though, Flores is acting like he was asked to tank because he's a minority head coach. It's like, dude, Gruden tanked in 2018. We're just talking about that in the other video. Check it out in the description on Jimmy Morrissey on John Gruden.
Yeah.
Look, I just think tanking is common. I think owners tell coaches to tank and they say, hey, I know this is going to hurt your record, but we really want to get a young roster and we really want to get some high draft picks and build. And so Hue Jackson said, oh, I believe everything that Brian Flores said. He went on ESPN as well. And then he started posting on Twitter saying like, yeah, I've had the same thing happen to me with the Browns. And then people tried to push back on Hue Jackson and say, wait, so you're saying you got paid to tank? And he said, no, but there are incentives to not win games. So he's a little backing down too. But basically, Hue Jackson went like what? 1-30 in like 2 or 3 years or something like that. Still didn't get fired. So maybe I kind of believe him in some way because he said there were incentives to keep the roster young. So I don't know.
And then also how much can they really blame you if your record is that bad, if they're the ones who are kind of behind it, if the owners are behind it? So, I mean, but I'm sure all this stuff happens, I'm sure it's a lot more prevalent than we know.
But I'm not going to say it's racial though. I'm not going to go there and say it's racial.
I don't know. I think we definitely have discussed, I don't want to open this can of worms, but it's just, the idea that like every aspect of sort of standard corruption in the NFL as a major business, as a big business, as a major corporation. Right. Of course, there's a lot of that. There's all kinds of shady business, whether it's all racially motivated. I don't know if you want to jump to that conclusion so quickly, just because I think that there are a lot of parties that would like to write it off in such a simplistic way for their own purposes. So I'm not saying it's not that way. I'm just saying like to explain NFL corruption just through purely racial terms doesn't actually get to the root of it. And I think that people pushing this narrative don't want to get to the root of it. For obvious reasons. But
it is interesting. Like now we do know, like tanking does happen.
Of course.
Anyone
who's paying attention.
But people were in denial before this. Remember?
No, you were called like some Alex Jones conspiracy theorist like all last season because you're talking about the Gruden situation. You had Brian Toohey of the Fixes In on the show. Very interesting guy. You're talking about that. And then some other people are just like, oh, I'm so glad that you're just becoming this crazy conspiracy tinfoil hat channel so you don't compete with us. Well, I don't know. What do people think now?
I guess I'm on the side of Brian Flores. So yeah. Anyway, so to get to this question though, Raw Eggs of Thunder.
Yeah.
Look, when Hue Jackson was the head coach of the Raiders, I believe we went 8-8 and we swept the AFC West. He was trying to win games. Swept the AFC West. Sorry, I went to community college. So it's okay. I think he was trying to win games, and I don't think he was tanking in this case. Now, if you're gonna tell me the Browns was he tanking, I think maybe he was off. Maybe there was incentives to tank there. But for the Raiders, he won too many games. He made some intense trades, got Carson Palmer, was really trying to get to the playoffs. And he took over for Tom Cable. Tom Cable was let go, and Hue Jackson took over mid-year and then did his own season. It was quite interesting. The offense was on fire back then with Jason Campbell and then with Carson Palmer. But I do not think he tanked while he was with the Raiders. Mike Castle asked a cool question. If for some crazy reason Carr does go, who would be the number one target at QB and who would you trade for? Now, it's not about me. Here's the thing. It's about Josh McDaniels and Ziegler.
Obviously, but he wants to know what your take is.
Because if it's my take, we're getting Michael Vick out of retirement. That's what we're doing. And we're going to call maybe Randall Cunningham and see what he has. And we're definitely hitting up Brett Favre. If it's my, and then the last resort we're going to do is we're going to call Burfict and say, do you want to switch positions?
So you want like a George Blanda situation. You want guys in their 60s with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth coming back onto the field.
I'm down to bring George Blanda back from the dead to play QB. But RIP George Blanda, he's a GOAT.
A weekend at Blanda's.
At Blanda's. No, but this is a good question. And honestly, we were, I think, the first YouTube channel to really talk about the Carr contract situation. Really take a lot of heat. I mean, check out my videos.
No one else wanted to touch it because we got barraged with negative comments. Yeah.
And I have these videos. I have Where's Carr? You could see it on my channel. And players react to McDaniels besides Carr. And by the way, I'm sorry to say this, but it's day 11 now. Day 11 since Derek Carr has refused to post anything or say anything publicly about Josh McDaniels or Dave Ziegler. Okay, it is day 11.
Answer his question.
I am going to answer this question.
Who would be the number one target?
I'm going to answer this question, but I just want to say that. Okay, so for me, I think for McDaniels, and I think maybe you do draft a QB and have a bridge QB in this situation because I don't think there's necessarily great first round talent.
Yeah.
in this draft, and I think even Malik Willis, who is probably the highest rated QB in this draft,
Yeah.
will likely be taken by somebody like the Steelers. If he's as good as everybody says he is, and these scouts aren't dumb, the Steelers are ahead of the Raiders in the draft position, and they would take him if he actually is that good.
Yeah.
Now, when you're talking about free agents, maybe you do roll with Mariota and try to teach him your scheme. We saw what Josh McDaniels was able to do with the mobile QB like Cam Newton. He was able to adapt to his asset. So obviously Mariota would be cheaper than Derek Carr, and he has familiarity with the team. I just don't think he's going to be healthy for a whole year. So maybe you hit up Brian Hoyer, who has some history backing up the Patriots. He will sure likely be available. He could be a bridge QB. Or you go out and maybe you get Jimmy G, because Jimmy G was drafted by the Patriots. I don't want, Mr. freaking porn star Jimmy G, look, I just
don't care about any of that. The man can't throw. The man can't throw. I don't care about any of that.
I just think attractive men, I just feel like they're never going to be tough enough.
Are you just jealous?
Of course I'm jealous. Of course I'm jealous. I mean, of course I'm jealous. I mean, that's.
Why are you talking about his looks? Who cares? It's about football.
Okay. George, who do you want to lead your team? George Blanda or Jimmy G? Who would you want to lead your team?
You should have had a pic of George Blanda to pull up on here.
I know.
Legendary
Google.
You got to be more prepared.
People on this channel know who George Blanda is. This is Raider
Look
Nation.
it up. Google it.
For all you youngsters, maybe the millennials don't know.
Yeah, longest serving QB in the league, next to obviously Tom Brady.
Right. So we
both
have
44, but if you look at side by side pics of Blanda and Tom Brady looks like a 12-year-old boy by comparison.
But anyway. No, it is straight.
Yeah.
Up.
So anyway, so you're saying like bridge QB. I mean, they're going to be here for a while, right? It seems like anyone who came in after Gruden, they're going to deal with a similar situation. You have a very hands-off owner, and you get to just like run wild, do whatever you want. Davis said it's not a rebuild, but a lot of people are thinking it's.
And Rich Gannon. So we could talk. Rich Gannon said today he was interviewed on the Raiders. He said that he says it's not a rebuild, but at the beginning he says this is a great team to build around.
He used the word build.
When you use the word build, you're using the word rebuild. I'm sorry, you are, and maybe you need to stop, because that's what we're all going to start thinking, right?
Well, it's just like it's like a Madden fantasy, right? For everyone who plays Madden, it's just like you get to take over his team. They made the playoffs. They have some other pieces that they would need to maybe compensate for weak areas, but you just get to creatively go off with this new team. These two guys, Ziegler and McDaniels, they're college roommates. They played together at John Carroll, right? So I mean, they go back, right? So they're kind of one mind probably, and they're all scheming and dreaming ultimately about what they can do with this roster.
Yeah, there's actually 4 people on the Raiders, I think, living like the bromance dream.
Yeah.
Like BFF bro dream, because you got Ziegler and McDaniels, college roommates, and they're working together now at their dream jobs together as friends. And then you also have Andre James and Colton Miller, college, college friends, played in college together. They said they're like really close friends. And think about it, you get to be a starter on the Raiders in Vegas with your best friend. That's just really cool. That's just stuff that doesn't usually work out for people. You know what I mean? And it happens to align perfectly. And we'll see if the season aligns perfectly, though, right? What do you think? What do you think the viewers should do to help support this channel, Audrey? I want to know from you.
I think, look, if you liked this video, actually like it with the button. If you didn't, I guess you could unlike, I don't know, downvote, whatever. They don't show them anymore, so they're not very honest. Because I would actually like to see how many
I would love to
see when something's really unpopular, but they don't let us see that anymore. But anyway, do whatever you feel is best. But if you did like this video and you want to see more fire hot content from us, please give us some support, subscribe, think about becoming a member.
Right.
We have maybe 60 some odd members. We're almost at 100. It would just incredibly help this channel and help us grow even faster than we're already growing. So appreciate you guys, and show us some support if you feel so inclined.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye, guys.